our first speaker to get a little bit more background. Anthony Brower, as I mentioned, Sustainable Design Director at Gensler. Anthony's responsible for the oversight of Gensler's lead consulting services for the Northeast. He's considered a thought leader and subject matter expert, writing exam questions and USGBC national accreditation exams, and speaking on the sustainable design forums across the country. Anthony, thank you so much for joining the call, and we'd love to hear some of your thoughts.
Not a problem. So, Brent, you can probably just go ahead and reveal, my entire. Yeah, okay, great. I didn't know if you were just dropping them one at a time. I'm like, okay, what did I say? All right. So, what I was going to talk about quickly was not necessarily, I really see the value in GreenWizard, and when we ask some of our vendors to drop information into the system, I'm thinking of this as it's not just benefiting me, it's not just benefiting Gensler and our firm, it's also benefiting HKS, it's benefiting HDR, so everybody can kind of tap into this database. We really all have to start working together, especially with this whole chemical issue. So what I've got here is really some thoughts that have come out of some real projects when we started asking some of these chemical issues of vendors and manufacturers. One of the first ones, which is not only a difficulty for the manufacturer, it's a difficulty for designers as well. We get the kind of "it's not my job" quote. I pick up the phone, I call up a vendor who wants to sell me a product. They're not a chemist, and on my side of the phone, I don't know about everybody else, but I went to school for architecture. I avoided chemistry in high school like the plague. It's really not one of the things we were focused on as designers, but the industry is starting to turn its eyes on it. So we really have to start, getting into it. I've got several clients who really are engaged in this whole red list and chemical issue. One of the other quotes we got from a vendor was, "If I tell you, then you might not specify my product." And one of my major clients is telling me, well, if they're not going to tell us, then they're not going to get in the door. So it's more about being transparent. Building materials have turned into what they have over the last several hundred years for a reason. So they stand up, so that the quality is going to stand the test of time. Now we're going to start playing with that chemistry. I think this is a process that's going to happen over a good deal of time, but I think knowledge is really the first place we have to go. We have to start revealing and publicly stating what's going to be in these products so that we can see what can be adjusted. There are going to be some limitations, but there are going to be some of the things we can overcome. A struggle for designers, now that this information gets revealed, turns into the statement of now, the idea of plausible deniability is gone. What happens if I as an architect knowingly start specifying carcinogenic products? What does it mean to a designer? What does it mean to a specifier? What does it mean to an owner if they knowingly allow carcinogenic products into the workplace? So all of this stuff is coming to the surface, and we really need to figure out a way to wrap our head around it. Another issue is high performance or chemical exclusion. We start talking about nanomaterials, and nanomaterials are typically found in a lot of high performance building envelope. So what governs? Do I want to reduce energy, or do I want to get chemicals out of the building? The stuff is on the exterior where people aren't trapped inside the building with it. That might be a reason to say, all right, maybe that kind of stuff kind of continues to have a home. So what is, acting on all of this going to cost me? What's it going to cost me from a financial standpoint as a manufacturer? What's it going to cost me from a marketing standpoint doing something like this? Or really the bigger question is, what's the cost of inaction going forward with all of this stuff? And like I said, this is not going to be a task that any of us can do ourselves. Gensler runs around 350 million square feet of work each year, and even with the volume that we run through, we could certainly not do this without others like HKS, without HDR, and a lot of others who've kind of really started paving the way and ringing this bell for a long time. GreenWizard tapping into this will probably turn into one of the biggest warehouses for digital information to kind of hold all of this stuff. So we say, all right, as long as it's on here, you don't know what your chemical intake is now, get your EPDs on here, get your basic product data on here, and then when you're ready to start, going through the declare process or going through the HPD collaborative, then you can get it. You can get it into there, and it turns into a very easy sort. I can find a collection of products that will kind of perform the way we're looking for based on whatever carrot my particular client is following on their projects.